Alrighty, I thought I'd do my predictions for UFC. Wait, it's not UFC. It's Fight Night. Yes, UFC Fight Night 18. Condit versus Kampmann. Alright. I'm actually not going to be able to see this. I'm working. I work Wednesday nights, so that's sad. But I will predict it. So I probably won't be able to do a recap on it. I want to just start off with the undercard, the preliminary card. It's done real fast, just by picking the winners. My version of who will win. The only problem with MMA Playground, I do my picks off of there, just read it, but they don't list it right. It's all crazy. So I'm going to have to defer back and forth between how it's actually going to go, fight-wise, back on, what is it? Back on MMA Junkie, and go to MMA Playground. Technology, being as it is, you'd think I'd be able to get all of my info right from the first source, but no siree. Alright, let's look here. Alright, I got Ryan Jensen, Aaron Simpson, Rob Kimmons, George Rivera. Good to see George back. I'm really glad to see George back. He'd been gone from the UFC for a while, but they brought him back. He's a good fighter. And this is the thing I have a problem with, right? They're good fighters. They're not in the UFC just because they'll never, contend for a title. And it shouldn't be that way. In Major League Baseball, you have teams that have never won a World Series. But they still get to keep their teams. They're still there representing themselves, and the fans still love them for it. There are all kinds of fighters. They're just like that, that may never win it, but they should be represented. They should be there, and they're likable enough, and they're good enough to actually compete. Maybe they. And I think that's where the UFC needs to get. They need to get to a point where they can house enough fighters to where it's not always about the title. It's about, well, I want to see that guy fight. I don't care if he'll ever win. Or there's a grudge between these two. I want to see these two. It can't always be about the title. I mean, the title's important. Don't get me wrong. But it's got to be more about, I saw this great fight last night. It's not like people are asking after a great fight, well, did he retain the title? No. Was it a good fight? Man, George Rivera is a good fighter to me. I mean, he goes out there. He gives his all. He does great clinch work. He's had some good wins. He's had some upsets. I think a lot of people thought he was going to win against Lieben that time. He got that win against Kendall Grove. He's just one of those fighters, and he may never win a title, and I don't think he ever will. He may never have a chance to fight for the title. So be it. But put the guy in the ring. I mean, put him in the cage. Let him fight. I don't care. He's a good fighter. Ran over Tim Credor, the Ultimate Fighter 8 guy. I liked him. He's old and wise and stuff. I think he'll do good. Let's see. Brock Larson versus Jesse Sanders. I gotta look this one up. I went with Brock Larson. Yeah. Because Jesse Sanders is the underdog, apparently. I'm going to go with Ricardo Almeida, or Almeida, however he wants to be called. Also got Jeremy Stephens to round out. Man, Jeremy Stephens fights a lot. That kid fights a lot. I give him credit for fighting a lot, because a lot of people were like, well, I only want to fight 2 or 3 times a year. But, I mean, Jerry Stephens, if he keeps the pace up, I mean, he'll fight like 5 times this year or something. He's just all over the place. I keep on seeing him in fights. It's like every other card has Jeremy Stephens in it. And now for the main card. We got Junie Browning versus Cole Miller. That's a hard fight for me to predict, but I kind of just went on a limb, and I like Cole Miller better, so I just went with Cole Miller. So there it is, Cole Miller. Whatever he wants. I mean, I don't know. What's Junie's weakness? I think Junie may be fatigue. I mean, that's his only weakness. He showed on Ultimate Fighter. He kind of has he's kind of a small guy. They had him listed as 5'10", but I thought he was smaller than that. I mean, I thought he was around, 5'8" or something. I thought he looked smaller. He seemed like one of those people that should be fighting at 145. So I think Cole Miller can take this. I like Cole Miller's chances. Probably by submission. If something worked in with the fatigue, I think something working with the fatigue would be a decision or TKO. But Cole Miller's good at submissions too. I'll go with decision. So yeah, Cole Miller. Then we got Rafael dos Anjos versus Tyson Griffin. And the thing with here is, I don't know Rafael really well. I don't know how good of a fighter is, but I would like to see Tyson Griffin get a finish. It just seems, has he ever finished anybody in the UFC? It doesn't ring a bell in my mind. I want to see him get a finish. Now if Rafael comes out and he's a gamer and he can actually win, who knows? But if he comes out and he pushes, I understand. But if I see Rafael dragging ass and Tyson Griffin not finishing him, I'll be really pissed, because it seems like Tyson Griffin wants the decision. Everybody in the UFC, it's like, finish him. It's a little racking. And then we got Ryan Bader versus Carmelo Mamario, and I'm gonna go with Ryan Bader because the guy is crazy and a stud and he's good, and I think he's gonna keep on climbing that ladder. Then we got Carlos Condit versus Martin Kampmann, and I don't see my pick here on the MMA Playground. I went with Carlos Condit. That kind of surprised me myself just then. Yeah, I haven't seen a lot of them though, but I hear a lot of hype, so I'm gonna go with Carlos here. I think Carlos can do it all night long. So those are my picks. I think afterwards, Ultimate Fighter 9 will premiere. That'll be the UK versus the States, and that should be good. And I'm thinking that last year, it was last year. Last year I did recaps of the fall season kind of it. So I'm thinking about revising those, doing more. But actually I kind of went on too long in those. So I'm maybe trimming down what I do and just using bullet points more for my thoughts instead of quoting fighters in the thing. Just make it quicker. So yeah, tell me if you think that's a good idea. I'll see you later, and hopefully it's a good card, even though it doesn't have the name brand value on it as much. Hopefully the fighters come to fight. That's what I like to see. Actually, I won't be seeing it. I'll see it later. I'll catch it later.